If you are a software developer working on Java, then this video is for you. Hi all, welcome to the channel Tech Trek, and in this video we will be learning on Java features which got introduced in Java 17 version. So I have listed down major features which got introduced and we will go through all of them one by one. First one is seal, then pattern matching, records and encapsulation which got much more restricted in this version. So let's get started. First one is sealed classes. So when we define a class as sealed, what it will do is it will restrict that class hierarchies. Let's see this with an example. Let's say here, if you see, I have a shape class and I have used sealed keyword here, and this shape class is a sealed class here, and here we can permit the following classes which can only inherit this class. So in other ways, circle can inherit shape, then rectangle can extend the shape class, right? Square can extend. None other classes which are here can extend this. So let's say one of the class, let's say square. So when we define a class as final, so this class cannot be extended further, right? So this square class is extending shape class, but this square class is final. So this square class cannot be inherited further, and this is the end of the hierarchy for this. And let's look at the another example. Let's say rectangle. So rectangle class is a non-sealed. If you see here, non-sealed keyword has been used for this class rectangle. So this shape class was a sealed class which rectangle class extends this shape class, but this rectangle class is non-sealed one. So when we declare a class as a non-sealed, so it can be inherited further. So like another class can extend this rectangle class. So the restrictness which shape has was rectangle, but rectangle is a free class now, so any other classes can extend this rectangle. And let's say we'll look at another example, circle. So here if you see, shape was a sealed class, circle is also defined as a sealed class here. So circle will also have restricted children classes. So if you see a small class and a small circle and large circle, these two classes can only inherit this circle class. So we'll see those two classes as well. So if you see large circle is declared as final, so end of the hierarchy, right? This class cannot be extended further. And similarly for small circle as well, this is also declared as in final, so this cannot be extended further. So this sealed class restricts the hierarchy level, if you see. So this feature which got introduced in Java 17. Hope you guys have understood this. So if we look at the second feature, which is pattern matching. So this pattern matching instance of got introduced. We will see this with an example again. So if you see, this is a class, so this object channel name, right? So this here we have declared two objects, handle id and channel name, and we are using instance of to check instance of this variable of this object, right? So this object is instance of a string, yes, and we are explicitly typecasting to string that object, right? So if you, and similarly for handle id, this is an integer, so it checks that it is instance of integer type and it prints this value. So if we'll run this class, you will see this both satisfies the criteria, right? Both were instance of integer and the string, so it get printed here. But the two things are checked here. First of all, instance is checked, like what kind of variable object it is, and it is getting bind to a variable. So what I can do is, instead of explicitly typecasting this to this object to a string, I can here itself bind it to a variable. So I have declared a variable channel here, and here if you see, instead of writing this explicit syntax and binding it to the declaring it in a variable, right, I can do it here as well. So this feature does two work. First is checks the type of the object and maps binds it to a variable. So if you return it again, it will work. So again, if you see, it is a web. So this is a new feature which got introduced here. Hope this is clear. We'll see the next one. Next one is records. So this is a special type of class, especially which designed to hold immutable data. So what I mean is, we can see with example. So this is a person class, right? Here it is declared as final. Again, it will not be inherited, and it has two variables, private, those are private, and final. So it cannot be changed, right? It is immutable. And if you see, this is a default like constructor we have written. It will initialize those values in the parameters, and we have this getters here. So these two getters are here, and this is toString method, this is default equals method, and this is hash code. So if you want to perform these many operations, right, if you want to string equals and hash code, you want to calculate. So instead of writing these boilerplate code, what we can do is, we can declare this class as in record class. How we'll do that, we will see later, but yeah, first we'll see this example. So if you see, this is a class which is again you creating an object of that class. This here, if you see, this is calling getter methods, and it prints the value. Then this prints the object. Then this here creates another object, and this equals checks equals method, right, calls equals method, and here has code. If you will quickly run this, it will work, right? So we got the output here, but here we are learning on records, right? So if you see, I will comment out this code, and I will declare this class as an record class. So what will it will do is, it will be a final one, right? So if you see, I have written here this. So this is the same syntax. We use this record keyword to declare it as in record, and the same name, it took two variable, both are final and private to the class, right? So again, if we'll run this, so it will work the same way. So instead of writing these many static codes, like basic codes for equal, hash code, or toString, calculation getters and all, so if we declare the class as a record, it will be, this class will be immutable, plus it will auto generate the getters. It will auto generate, it will have a constructor which will initialize the variables, and it will have generate toString and this equals method and hash code method. So this gets automatically generated for this class for the defined variables. So this is a use of record class. So as I said earlier, right, it is a final class. It makes the class final. It cannot be extended further, but this record class can implement an interface. What I mean is, we can look at this with this example. So let's say here we have an interface shape, right? This shape has a method area. It will calculate area, right? It is interface, it is not defined here, it is just declared here, this method. Again, we have record class circle. What it has one private final variable, right, radius, and it implements the shape class. So here we have implemented this area method, which is interface, this shape interface method, right? So here we have defined it under this circle class, and if this will calculate the area. So here let's say I have calculated area for this circle radius. I have provided it 5, and it will calculate the area. So if you see, what I mean to say is this record class cannot be extended further, but it will can implement an interface, right? So if you see, it is working. Hope this is clear. Then we will just quickly look into the key features. So record, as this was introduced, right? So it makes the code more readable, since we need not to write whole code, and it will be a simpler one. Then it is immutable, since everything is final, right? Automatically generation for the constructor, getters to string equals, and hash code methods and all. And this is basically used for data transfer objects, since it is not it can, we don't need to change that data, right? So it can be used here. Then it supports custom methods. What I mean by custom method is, if you see here, we have declared this method, right? We can write even this class is record, declared as record. We can write our own method here to calculate or to do whatever operation we want to perform. So this is, and limitations we have, like since it is final one, we cannot be inherited further. Then no setter method it has, since it is immutable, and we cannot expose the setter methods. It has only getter methods. So this was a record, and this is a great feature which was included in this version. Hope this was clear. Next is encapsulation. So strong encapsulation, what I mean by strong encapsulation here is, so if you all know, like encapsulation is an pillar object of object-oriented programming, right? So what encapsulation is, it restricts access to the certain part of the object data, right? And it ensures internal working of that class is hidden from the outside world. So and we achieve this by using private methods and private variables, or we are exposing public getter and setter methods to allow the controlled access to the object state. So this is encapsulation, but in this version, this encapsulation is became more strict. How it became more strict, we can see here. Let's say before this version, internal JDK APIs were accessible by reflection methods. So what I mean is, I can show you here. If you see this example, so this is unsafe class which is imported from sun.misc package here. So this is internal JDK API, which can be which earlier it was accessible by reflection method, but if you see here, if I want to access this unsafe, so what it is written here is, it will throw an error. It will throw an error if you want to call this get unsafe method through a security exception. Like if that class loader is called from any other class which is outside of the system domain, so and it don't have permission, so this got added in this version. So if we are calling it from here, from our class here, so it will give us a error. As mentioned, it will give us a security exception, and that message was unsafe. If you see this unsafe method is here, so it will return this security exception here, and message will be unsafe, and which got printed here. So earlier, before this version, it was working, but in this version it got restricted. We cannot extend, like we cannot use this, we cannot call this methods JDK internal APIs, and if we want to do that, we need to use public APIs. like if our previous code was using this accessing this JDK internal APIs, so if we are migrating to this version, right, so we need to use the public ones, public APIs, or we need to use JPMS, like Java Platform Module System APIs, which is intended for the public use. So this got introduced, and yeah, so we'll see next. So it like restricts and it like this encapsulation got more restricts in this version. So here are these major features which got introduced in Java 17 version. So yeah, I have created videos on Java previous versions as well. Do check out that, and if you like the video, do like, subscribe and share and follow for more.